Hi everyone. Am I audible to you right now? If I'm audible, let me know. Okay, thank you. We'll wait. We'll wait for just 7 minutes and then we'll get started. Okay? We'll see whether others are joining and we'll get confirmed and we'll start. Okay? I hope everyone received their mind blocks. Is it? Did you all receive your mind maps? I will be sending you all the short note tube on on Monday. I will try to send it on Monday so you all can get it because I'm out of Colombo. So once I reach home, I can send you them because I have to work on that. So whoever has not received the tubes, please click this link and try to get it. Okay. Yeah, you have requested, no? Right now, I can't accept it. After the class, I can accept it so you can get it, okay? Short notes I'll be sending to you all later, a bit later, because the reason, since right now I'm not at my place. So that's the reason I could not send. Okay? Right. Hold on. Let me pin it out. Okay, right. So we'll start the class by 6:40. Share the link with your friends and say because the people who join our first class till you turn into grade 10, till you go to the grade 10 or the grade 9 sessions will be fully free for you all. So whoever wants not to miss this opportunity, you all can share with your friends, right? Okay. I hope you are having a book with you and all the stuff. So get it ready right now. So by 6:40, we'll be start. Short notes, I will let you know how about it. But the first lesson short notes will be free. Okay? We'll wait for 5 minutes and we'll get started, right? Okay, guys, shall we start? Am I audible right now? Okay, we'll get started. So I hope everyone have received the mind blocks. Did you receive the mind blocks? Yes or no? Whoever has not received, you all can do the request. So once you are done with the request, I will accept the request after the class. Right now, I am in my class, so I could not do that. So after the class, I can accept your request, right? Right. Okay. Now listen. Now I want to tell you something very important. Now, people, I guess 12 people are here. So these 12 people will be able to access the classes until you are turning grade 10. That means until you come to the grade 10, you will be having the grade 9 and grade 9 science classes will be free for you all. Right? So this is the procedure. The procedure is about you all have to invite 5 of your friends to the group. That means you all have to inform and you all have to tell your friends that you are having the free grade 9 classes in this way, and this is at the time, this is our usual time. So every Saturday from 6:30 to 8:30 you all will be having. At every end of the session you will be able to do the unit test. It can be in the form of game. So now today we will be studying the microorganism. So after that we will do some questions in a app. So in the quiz app, we will be able to do some questions and all. We will take fun of that and we will be learning, right? So that is what will happen in our classes. In addition to that, I have introduced the short notebook for the grade 9. I will update regarding that in our next session. Okay, so right now I'm not at my place, so after I reach my place I will be able to update you regarding that completely, right? So let's get started. And how many of you all have started this lesson in your school? Just raise your hand or say just me in the chat. How many of you all have started this lesson in your school? Right, good. Okay, now listen. So, the way I am going to teach you, the way I'm going to update you, you will be able to identify the difference. What you learned in the school and what you are going to learn from me, right? So, what you will understand here is let me make you to understand and get you an idea, right? Now, listen to me very carefully. I'm going to tell you like kind of a story, right? Listen. Now, what is our heading? Our heading is about applications of microorganism. So, what is our heading? Applications of microorganism. Now, listen to me. I'm going to explain you the heading first. Now, whenever we study something in exam or it can be whatever in our life, whatever. Now, the heading gives you the huge meaning. Now, whenever we say the word applications mean, now say application means what are the places that microorganisms are beneficial or it can be a disadvantage. So those things only you are going to study, because in grade 8 you studied in detail about microorganism. In grade 9 you are going to study about applications of microorganism in detail, right? So first let's see who is an microorganism. Let's see who is microorganism. Now whenever we say the word micro, now we say micro. Micro means what? Micro means, in another term, we say tiny. Micro means, what do we say? Micro. Micro means we call it as tiny. And in science, we say organism, right? In science, we say organism. So what do you mean by organism? Organism means we say what? Living things on the earth. So living things on the earth, we call it as organism. So in addition to that, we don't want to write on the earth, we can say organism means, in science we call it as what? Living things. Micro means we call it as tiny. So micro is tiny, organism means living things. So what is microorganism? Tiny living being. So you are going to study someone whom you cannot see through your naked eye, but you are going to study about that person in detail. So that person looks very tiny, tiny living being. So now let's come to the organism word. Now we know what is organism and what are the three types of organism we studied in our grade 6. We studied about animals, we studied about plants, we studied about microorganism. In grade 10 and 11, you will be studying about animals and plants in detail at the first chapter itself, while you are going to study about microorganism in grade 9. Now listen to me carefully. Now we need to study what is the definition of microorganism. So now I'm going to tell you microorganism. Who is microorganism? Now we need to understand. Now imagine I have a house. Now imagine now when we take a house. Now let's say this is an house. Now this is a house. Let's say this is a house. Okay. Now and also there is an organism. Let's take the human. Let's take the human. So we have the human here and we have the house over here. Now human is a living person, house is a non-living person. Now I'm going to start with the non-living thing and then I'm going to go with the living thing, right? Now listen to me carefully. Now whenever you talk about house and if I ask you a question, how the house is made up of? Now tell me, house is made up of what? How is the house is made up of? What do you think about it? How is the house is made up of? We everyone say, house is made up of bricks. Now if I say human is made up of what? Human is made up of cells. So that means when you talk about microorganism also a living being. No, that means all the living being on the earth is made up of what? It is made up of cells. So we understand that microorganism is made up of cells. So what are the two types of cells that the microorganisms are made up of? One, we can call them as unicellular. Other one, we call them as what? Multicellular. So what do you mean by uni? Uni in science, we say it as one. Multi means what? More than one. So that means microorganisms can be made up of one cell or it can be made up of more than one cell. So it can be unicellular or multicellular, right? And also I told you, micro means what? What is the word for micro? Micro, I said tiny. Now say I'm touching the board. When I touch the board, will you be able to see the microorganisms in my hand? Will you be able to see the microorganisms that is present on my hand? No. So that means now I can't see through my eyes. No. So the eyes, we call it as naked eye. So naked eye means what? I'm not wearing any specs. I'm not wearing any microscopes and all. So naked eye means bare eyes, your normal eyes. So which cannot be observed through your naked eyes. So that means you can observe the microorganism through which object? Through which object you can observe? Through what? Through microscope. So through microscope, you can observe this microorganism. So let's come back to the definition. So whenever you are talking about the definition of microorganism, we say microorganisms are organisms. They are living beings. Microorganisms are organisms which are unicellular or multicellular, which cannot be seen through our naked eyes but can be observed through the microscope. So that is the real definition, and that is the definition that is accepted in all your school books and your exams and all of them. Now if you ask me a question, teacher, do you want to buy heart, or do we really wanted to buy heart this definition? As for me, please never buy heart anything in science. Science is very easy if you understand. Now say for example, you are going to a doctor. Now say this doctor have learned science. No, so does this doctor take out their textbook and see a headache? He will write Panadol like that? Will he take out his textbook and he will write it like that? No. He have understood throughout his life that these are the things has to be done with for the headache and all the stuffs. Like what? You also understand this lesson in a way without by hearting. So remember, science is easy without by hearting. But you people make it complicated by hearting. Now you may see so many people they by heart the word lactobacillus bulgaricus. You by heart. Don't by heart. When you by heart, you feel heart. So now listen to me carefully. Now what are we going to learn? We are going to learn the definition of microorganism. So how are we going to learn? We know microorganism is a living thing. So how do we say microorganism is a organism? Now we know microorganism is made up of what cell? What are the two types of cell? Unicellular or multicellular. So we can say microorganisms are organisms which are unicellular or multicellular, which cannot be seen through our naked eyes but can be observed through the microscope. So that you call it as one microorganism. Did you understand the definition? Did you understand the definition of microorganism? Yes? Right. Okay. Now listen. Now listen to me carefully. Now, whenever you wanted to understand a word, please write it on your book without looking at the book. So, without looking at your textbook, can you write the definition? Can you write the definition without looking at your textbook? Yes. Okay, right. Now we are going to study about what? We are going to study about the types of microorganisms. So all these years you may studied about microorganisms and who are microorganisms and types of microorganisms. And also today we are going to study what are the five types of microorganism are we going to learn. Right. So what are the five types of microorganism? Number 1, we always know, like friend, we know that's bacteria. So always in the Dettol advertisement we see the bacteria, we see in the advertisement as a bacteria. They say bacteria, even though it's a germs we say bacteria. So bacteria is a very common word to remember. Number 2, what is the number 2? We can say fungi, or you can say fungi in your word, fungi. Right. Number 3, who is that? Algae. So number 3 is going to be the algae. Number 4, who is that? Number 4 is protozoa. Protozoa. So protozoa, malaria, these diseases are caused by the protozoa. Then fifth one, virus. Coronavirus, dengue virus. So virus can cause us diseases. So what are the five types of microorganism we know? Bacteria, fungi, algae, protozoa, and virus. Now listen. Bacteria to the protozoa you can observe through the compound microscope. So we can use compound microscope or we can use simple microscope to observe them. But when you talk about virus, you can't observe the virus through the compound or simple microscope because virus is 10 times smaller. It is 10 times smaller than the above microorganism. That means, can you use the compound microscope to observe this virus? No. You need a powerful microscope to observe this virus with so many magnificent glasses. So that is going to be electron microscope. So who is the unique person over here? Virus is unique. And also they said most of the diseases caused by the virus, till now they haven't discovered any medicines. Why? Virus cannot be identified easily. We can't identify because virus is too small. Sometimes virus will show the features like what? They sometimes show they are like non-living, and sometimes they show like living organism. So they could not even find the exact details about virus. But the rest of these people, whoever causes these diseases, they have discovered medicines. Clear with that? Understood that? Got the idea? Yes? Can you write them out? Like exactly by 8 o'clock, we will have the quiz session. Okay, quiz session via the app. Now, the people who are in this, people who are in this group, okay, so in the Zoom meeting, I will be sharing the link via the Zoom meeting. So, by clicking that, you all will be able to get into the question quiz app. So in that you all have to click within 5 seconds, the time will move on. So you all have to click the correct answers and we will be selecting 3 winners. So these 3 winners will get our short note, like revision bundle for free. They will be getting the revision bundle, that means grade 9 revision question bundle as a PDF will be given for free, right? Because I don't give that for free, usually that is a paid part, but still I will be giving that for free just to encourage you to learn more, right? Okay. So I hope you understood. So let's move on. Now listen. Now we studied about what is microorganism. Now we studied about what are the types of microorganism. We got an idea. Now, what we have to learn is we need to study the characteristics of microorganism. So, we have to study the characteristics. So, what do you mean by characteristics? So, whenever we talk about characteristics, what does characteristics means? Now, whenever we say the word characteristic, you need to understand characteristic means how they will look like and where do they present and what they will be doing. So, these things only we call it as what? Characteristics. So first, I will explain you certain things and you have to easily grab out what are the characteristics of microorganism. Now, when I talk about microorganism, what did you understand? So we understood that microorganisms are made up of cells. No, it is made up of cell. But what are the two types of cell that the microorganism is made up of? It is made up of unicellular and multicellular. So that means what is the first characteristic of microorganism? We can say they are unicellular or multicellular. Uni or multicellular organism. Second one. Now, do you think the microorganisms are big in size or are they small in size? What can you say about it? They are very small. So, can we write it they are small? No. In another term in English, we can write they have simple structure. They have simple structure. That means you can even draw the microorganism like this. So this is how the microorganism will look like. So that is simple structure. Third one. So you see that on the table, on the board, on the duster, on the book, pencil, pen, everywhere you see microorganisms. So that means how we can write even on my hair, even on my clothes, even on my dress, my body. Everywhere you find a microorganism. So we can write they live in every environment. They live in what? Every environment. That's the third characteristic. So what is the fourth characteristic? So you can see now everyone have used well at home. I mean, like you all have seen well, or like you may have seen some places like very wet. In that places you see some algae. Today you see this much of algae, but after a week you see this much of algae. That means you understand that microorganisms spread very fast and they grow very fast. So we can say what is the fourth category? So we can write they spread and grow fast. So that's the fourth characteristic, right? What is the fifth characteristic? Now, sometimes they say by using microorganisms you can produce yogurt, and also they say by microorganisms you can cause diseases. So we can write some are favorable. So that means some are good to the human, favorable to human, and some are harmful. So all the microorganisms cannot be favorable to human, but some can be useful, some can be harmful. So those are the five characteristics that you have to remember about microorganism. Clear? Understood? Got the idea? Understood, yeah? Did you understand the characteristics? So what did we understand? Let's come back. What is microorganism? Close your eyes. Tell me the definition with me. Microorganisms are organisms which are unicellular, multicellular, but which cannot be seen through our naked eyes, but can be observed through the microscope. So that's the definition. What are the five types of microorganism we learned? Number one, bacteria. Number two, fungi. Number three, algae. Number four, protozoa. Number five, virus. Out of these four people, whom can you use? I mean, like which microorganism that you cannot observe through what compound microscope? That is virus. So virus is always 10 times smaller, which cannot be observed through the normal microscope. And also, what can you say about the characteristics of microorganism? Number one, they are unicellular or multicellular. Number two, they have simple structure. Number three, they live in every environment. Number four, they spread and grow very fast. And number five, some are favorable to human and some are not. Clear? Understood? Got the idea? Now we will be studying about these five microorganisms in detail with the characteristic, with the example. Got? Can you write this out? Once you have done writing, let me know. Very good. Right. Done writing. Okay. Right. Now listen. Now listen. Now what we have to do is we have to study about microorganisms in detail. I will let you know very easy. Now when you talk about bacteria, now what you have to learn is, now some people say, some students say me that the box they have given in your exam paper and the things that they are asking, say for example, in your exams they have given you some questions like matching, or it can be filling the blanks regarding the bacteria, fungi, virus and all, but you have a problem in studying the table because the words are very complicated and it looks very hard to understand. So my work is to make you to understand easily about bacteria. Now listen to me. Now I'll tell you like a story. Now you know that bacteria is there, no? This bacteria is made up of one cell. Now if the bacteria is made up of one cell means, what is the first characteristic of this bacteria? What is the first characteristic of this bacteria? It is unicellular. Now think. Now think. Now, if it is a unicellular means, now say, I am also made up of cell. You also made up of cell. Can you see the cell in your body? Can you see the cell in your body? Can you see the cell in your body? Now if I say, I'm saying a person, show the cell in your body. No, you cannot see. You cannot say that there is a cell in your body because you cannot see them. So that means if I say bacteria is made up of one cell means, can you observe through the microscope? Yes. Can you observe through your naked eyes? No. So that's the reason they have given as microscopic. The word microscopic means they say that bacteria cannot be observed through your naked eyes. So that's the reason they have given the word microscopic. They are unicellular and microscopic. Clear? Now, the next thing is, this bacteria have different body shape, it seems. Have you heard about the different body shapes of bacteria? I will introduce you some different body shapes. According to the body shape only, they give the name. Example, now there are four body shapes of the microorganism, major four. One is circle. If they are circle, we say they are coccus. The shape of the bacteria is coccus. If they are like samosa, we say vibrio. They are vibrio, right? If it's a unicellular, you can't see with the naked eye. Yes, Amana, you cannot see through your naked eye if it is made up of one cell. Like what? Our body is multicellular. We are multicellular organism. That means combination of several cells only we are made up of. That's the reason I can't see the cell in my body. But if it is made up of multicellular, you can see through your naked eyes. I'll tell you why. Now listen. So coccus is one body shape of bacteria. Vibrio is another shape. And they look like kind of a worm. If they look like a worm, we say spirilium. We say spirilium. So spirilium also one body shape. If they look like a rod or like a sausage, we say bacillus. We say bacillus. How do we say? Bacillus. Now, this bacteria have some legs. These legs we call it as cilia. They have some structures to move that we call it as cilia. And also they have another long structure, we call this as flagella. So these are like structures to move, like locomotive structure. Okay, clear with that? And remember, wherever you touch, are these shapes only visible in bacteria? Yes, mostly bacteria only have these shapes. Okay, and also wherever you touch, there will be bacteria. So that's the reason we say widely spread in every environment. It can be in the dry surface, it can be in the wet surface, it can be in the moist combinational surface. So wherever the surface, this bacteria is present, because he is like a common person, like a celebrity person, like everywhere everyone knows them, like that. So widely spread in any environment. Clear? Understood? Got the idea? So let me talk about bacteria again. Listen, what is the characteristic? Bacteria is made up of one cell. That's the reason we say unicellular. And can you see through your naked eyes? Can you see through your naked eyes? You cannot see through the naked eyes. So that is what we call them as microscopic. And these bacteria has different body shapes. I'm going to introduce 4 body shapes. One is coccus, Vibrio, Spiralium, Bacillus. Look at the shapes. So someone told me they didn't understand what is cilia. Now say, I have my hands and legs to move. Like what? These bacteria, they use their leg. Now think, bacteria. Now can I say bacteria have leg? Can't. No. That means this bacteria is using a part of their body to move. That is what we call it as cilia. And also they have flagella. Clear, Zainab? Got it? Understood? And wherever you touch the surface, you find bacteria. That's the reason we say they widely spread on any environment. Clear? Got it? Now draw this out in your book. Draw this out in your book. Draw and write this out in your book. Okay. Let's talk about the examples. Now you know that bacteria is helping us to produce dairy products, like what do you say, like milk based, like curd, yogurt. Now usually curd and yogurt, see, it is solid. No, usually milk is liquid. How does this liquid is becoming solid? Because of the bacteria that is helping to become solid. Did you understand? A type of bacteria. Now whenever we say milk products, have you heard about lactogen powder? Milk, baby milk powder. Baby milk powder, have you heard lactogen? Have you heard about it? Lactogen, something like that. Okay, right. Now, whenever we talk about milk, remember in science, milk we say in another term as lactose. We say what? Lactose. Whatever the dairy products in science, we name them as what? Lactose. Now see, what is the type of bacteria that is helping to do the production of milk, dairy products and all? That is lactobacillus. Lactobacillus bulgaricus. So look here, I'll tell you what is the secret in this word. Okay, I'll tell you the secret. Lactobacillus bulgaricus. Now listen. Now you know there is a secret in this word. Lacto means what? Milk. Bacillus means what? The shape. This is the real name of this bacteria who is helping to produce the milk-based product. So that means you may think, why does microorganism have a long name? The reason, because for what are they used? For the milk. That's the reason the word first lacto comes. What is the shape of the bacteria? Rod shape. That's what it's bacillus. Bulgaricus is the type of the bacteria. Clear with that? Understood? So Lactobacillus bulgaricus is the full name of the bacteria that is used to produce milk. Clear? Used to produce milk-based products. Clear with that? Understood that? Got the idea? Yes? Clear? Right. And also we use bacteria to produce vinegar. So to produce vinegar to keep for a long period of time, we are using a bacteria called Acetobacter aceti. Aceti. So Acetobacter aceti is the type of bacteria that's helping in what? That is helping in production of vinegar. So what are the advantages of bacteria? One advantage is to produce milk-based products. Number 2 is what? To produce vinegar. Then the other two that you're going to study right now as an example is going to be the disadvantage of bacteria. Clear with that? So what are the disadvantages? There are two types of diseases that is caused by bacteria. One is cholera. Have you heard about cholera? The people who drank water during the flood times, who drank the water that is contaminated, they keep on having a loose motion, a diarrhea, what do you say, like kind of diseases like vomitis, like they feel like fainties. So this disease we call it as cholera. So this cholera disease is caused by a bacteria called Vibrio cholera. Now when I say the word Vibrio, what is the shape? Vibrio, what is the shape of this bacteria? It's like like samosa, right? So Vibrio cholera. So Vibrio cholera is the type of bacteria that is producing the disease called cholera. From that word itself, you need to understand. Another one is anthrax disease. So what is anthrax disease? Now you may see some people with some black spots on their body, like kind of like we call it as kabare or something like that. But it's not like that. But it's like black spots on their body, which is very dangerous. It looks like spreading all over the body. So that disease we call it as anthrax. So this anthrax disease is caused the the bacteria called Bacillus. Now, what is the shape? Bacillus anthracis. Bacillus anthracis. So, when you see the word anthrax disease is caused by the bacteria called anthrax. Cholera disease is caused by the bacteria called cholera. And also, what is the shape? Vibrio. This is bacillus shape. Did you understand the difference? Did you understand the difference? Clear with that? Did you study these things in detail in your school? Did you study these things in your school in detail like this? No, right? So this is how you have to learn science, and this is how you need to understand. So when you talk about bacteria, we need to understand the characteristics of bacteria. What are the characteristics? They are made up of one cell and they are microscopic. Why? Because they are made up of one cell only. They are microscopic and they have different body shapes. What are they? Coccus, Bacillus, Vibrio, Spirillum. All the bacteria name comes from the word shape of their body. So that's what I told you. Milk, we call it as lactose. So the bacteria that is producing the milk-based product, that's what we call it as Bacillus, the shape. Bulgaricus is the name of the bacteria. Then vinegar, Acetobacter aceti. Cholera, Vibrio cholera. Anthrax disease, Bacillus anthracis. Clear? Understood? Now tell me, do you even want to by heart these names? Now next time when I come and ask you questions, you will be able to tell. So that's how you have to learn. Clear with that? Understood? So that is the reason I told you. So what about the Acetobacter aceti? Acetobacter aceti is not based on the shape. It's not based on anything. That's directly the word of the aceti is the word of vinegar. Vinegar's word is aceti. It's an acid. No, aceti is the vinegar's name. Other than that, Acetobacter is the name of the bacteria. Clear? They haven't used the shape, but that is the word that you have to remember. Other words are easy to remember, right? Other words are easy to remember because I simplified a lot. Got it? Understood? So some people feel hard, they by heart. They go to home, now say if it is an exam or anything, whatever it is, they by heart this chart. By hearting this chart itself, it will take a lot of time because you don't have time to study the rest of them. Clear with that? Got the idea? Right. Now let's talk about fungi. Now let's talk about fungi. Now when you talk about fungi, see, now fungi is made up of one cell. It can be a unicellular. It can be a unicellular and also it can be a multicellular. Now everyone tell me, if it is a multicellular, can you see through your naked eyes? Yes or no? Now I am a multicellular. You are a multicellular. We all of us are multicellular organism. Yes, you can see. A part of fungi that you can see through your naked eyes, that's going to be the mushroom. So mushroom is a part that you will be able to see through your naked eyes. That is going to be the mushroom. So that's what they say. Unicellular means
You cannot see. A part of fungi cannot be seen through our naked eyes. A part of fungi can be seen through our naked eyes. So cannot, can. Both possibilities are there. So that is one part that you can see is mushroom. Clear with that? So what is the reproductive organ? They said that when you go to grade 10, again you will be studying about fungi, bacteria in detail in advance. Okay. But what I want to tell you is whatever you studied in grade 9 will be followed in grade 10 in advance. So that means now itself you should get the idea about the fungi. Now listen, mushroom is there. No? This mushroom is a reproductive organ. That means mushroom is not a fungi. It's a part of fungi. It is dangerous to touch the mushroom. There are mushrooms that grow occasionally. I mean, like without even anyone's help, if they grow, if it is in a wet surface or wet wooden surfaces, if it grows, that is bit dangerous because it is fungi, right? But there are people who grow mushrooms in the greenhouses in order to cook and eat. That is different. So this is different, that is different. They will look different. Okay, so dangerous one will look green in color, yellow in color, like kind of in those colors only they will be their mushrooms. And also we will identify quickly, like you will feel embarrassed to touch, it will look ugly as well. You won't feel to touch that mushroom, but the mushrooms that you feel to eat will be cute and it will look healthy as well. Did you understand the difference? So this mushroom is a reproductive organ of the fungi. That means mushroom is not a fungi, it's a part of fungi. Mushroom is not a fungi. I don't want to give you wrong information. No. Remember, mushroom is not a fungi. It's a part of fungi, a small part, a reproductive organ of fungi that can be seen through your naked eyes. Other than that, you can't see the fungi through your naked eyes. Clear? Understood? Most of the time, has anyone got rashes? Has anyone got like kind of ringworms on our hands and legs and all during the sunny times and all? Because listen to me, fungi always likes to grow in the wet surface. So we say thrive. Thrive means what? Grow. So thrive means, the word thrive means grow on moist surface. Moist means what? Wet surface. They always grow on wet surfaces. Right. Now listen. Can you remember in grade 8 you did an experiment? You took a piece of bread, sprinkle some water, keep out for 3 days. Some black structures will be grown. These black structures we call it as mucus. Have you heard about this? Yes. You call this as what? Mucus. So, mucus is a fungi. Mucus is a fungi that grows on bread. And remember, this mucus is a multicellular. That's what you can see through your naked eyes. That's the reason you can see through your naked eyes. And the other one is yeast. You may have seen we use yeast on our bread. It's a key ingredient for our bakery products and all. Yeast is a key ingredient for the bakery products. So this yeast, you cannot, inside the yeast only you see the fungi, which you call it as Saccharomyces. So Saccharomyces is a scientific name for the yeast. This is a fungi that is unicellular, that you cannot see through your naked eyes. That means a pieces of yeast can be seen inside the yeast. Saccharomyces you cannot see through your naked eyes. So that is a big thing that you need to remember. So fungi is a unicellular or multicellular. A multicellular of fungi, that is a mushroom, the reproductive organ of fungi that can be seen through. Right? If they ask you a question, is mushroom is a fungi? No. A part of fungi is mushroom and they always grow on a wet surfaces, thrive on moist surface. And also, what are the two examples for fungi? One is mucus, other one is Saccharomyces. Clear? Understood? Got the idea? Clear with what I explained? Yes? Right. Okay. Did you all write it down in your book? I know in some school they will ask you to copy down the table. They will ask you to draw the pictures and come. So that is waste of time. That is not how you study science. Science is something you need to understand in detail and you need to study. But if you're studying in a way like, say, for example, if you're reading it, someone stand and read, someone do like this. This is not the way you study science. Science, you need to understand. Teacher has to explain you in a way that you need to understand. So I think you may understand the difference how your school teaches and right now how I am teaching right to you now. So because I myself have to force myself to teach you in a way you need to understand. So that's how we learn science. That's the reason most of us feel science is hard. Now see, if you don't study properly in grade 9, when you go to the grade 10, you will feel like science is the worst subject that I ever chose. You will think that. The reason most of us think the science is hard because why? The teachers doesn't teach you properly. They ask you to read, they ask you to do these things and all. So they don't tell you what you have to do. They will always give you homework, copy down, copy and paste. So these things are not going to be in our class. Our class is going to be very different from all the classes that you have gone through. Clear? Got it? Now the reason that I am talking about it, because at the end of this session you will be doing the quiz. So you will get into the quiz and you will be able to do, even though you don't get first, but at least you could answer the question. So that is how my thing is going to work. Clear? Understood? Right. Now let's talk about protozoa. Let's talk about protozoa. Maybe. Now, protozoa, remember, have you seen the protozoa in your life? Have you got an idea about protozoa? No, most of us haven't seen protozoa because protozoa cannot be seen through our naked eyes. Now, whenever they say you cannot see through your naked eyes, what can be the first characteristic of protozoa? That is unicellular. And if that is unicellular, can you see through your naked eyes? No, they are what? Scopic, microscopic. They are microscopic. So you need to understand protozoa is unicellular and they are microscopic. Clear with that? Understood that? Now listen. There are three types of protozoa, and most of the time we learn the three, but there are four. Okay, now listen. Number one is amoeba. Number one is amoeba. Amoeba structure is like this. Always amoeba will look like this. Okay. Next one is paramecium. So paramecium, how does it look like now? Paramecium always looks like a plate. It will look like a plate. Number three. Number three is euglena. So euglena will look like a pencil, like a sharp edge in this way. Now listen. Now, when you talk about protozoa, they will use structures like structures to move. So that you call it as what? Locomotive structures. So locomotive structures means what? Locomotion. You studied in grade 6, grade 7. Locomotion means what? Moving from one place to another place. We call it as locomotion. So how do we do locomotion? Using our leg and our hands, we do locomotion. Like what? When you talk about microorganism that comes under protozoa's special characteristic is they have locomotive structures. Like they have like legs to move. So amoeba, they use cilia. Amoeba, what do they use? What do they use? They use cilia. So they use cilia to move. Remember, what does the amoeba use? Amoeba use cilia to move. Next one is, sorry, not amoeba is not using cilia. Okay, remember amoeba is not using cilia. Amoeba is using pseudopodia. Pseudopodia means like jelly-like substance. Like you see snail. So snail will use like jelly-like substance to move from the muscles. No. Like what? Amoeba is using pseudopodia. So it is using pseudopodia to locomote. Paramecium only using the cilia, the little legs. They are using cilia. So paramecium only using cilia to move. Right? Next one is euglena. So euglena, they will look like this and they will have like kind of a thing in this way like this. We call this as flagella. They use flagella to locomote, right? Most of the time you may have heard the people say don't go to this river, unknown river. In case if you drown in unknown river, Let's say this river is not used by anyone. Most of the time, these protozoa live in aquatic area. So they always live in aquatic area, like water places, like the place where there is water, like wet surface and all. So this protozoa will be mostly present in unknown rivers and all. In case if you go to an unknown river and if you bath and you got drawn, you know what is drawn, right? Sometimes you went inside deeper and you came out of that, and some little amount of water you drank which contains protozoa. If that protozoa enters into your body, that is the final day. Why? Because protozoa till now they haven't found any medicines for a disease called plasmodium. So plasmodium means what? A kind. That means the red blood cells are getting infected by the protozoa called plasmodium. So till now there is no medicine discovered for this disease plasmodium. So plasmodium is a type of protozoa that will slowly infect your blood, and that can infect your brain, and then finally that person can die. So that's the reason they say protozoa is very dangerous than the virus also sometimes, because sometimes we bath in unknown places, no, so that can also even cause, like, you will keep on vomiting, loose motion, diarrhea and all of them. Got the idea? Understood? Yes, got the idea. Right. Okay. Now let's go to the algae. Now let's go to the algae. Now, is there anyone who didn't understand? Because I'm here to help you out. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Good. Now let's talk about algae. Now, when you talk about algae, now what is the color of algae? Everyone tell me. What is the color of algae? Algae, we know what is algae. No, in Tamil we say pasi. The greenish one. Yes, very good. So algae is green. Have you seen algae through your naked eyes? Have you seen algae through your naked eyes? Yes or no? Yes, that means it is a multicellular. And some algae you can't see through your naked eyes. And also we call them as what? Unicellular. So some are multicellular, some are unicellular, and they are green in color. So if it is green in color, what do you think about this algae? What can this green color algae do now if they are green in color? We say, we studied in grade 6. Green color plants will do this one. Now if you say green plants, they produce the food in the form of what? Very good. They do photosynthesis. So we can understand algae is not harmful. Why? They produce their own food in the form of what? Photosynthesis. They do the they do the production of food in the form of what? Photosynthesis. So they are not harmful. Did you understand? Now, when you talk about algae, there are two shapes of algae. One shape is filamentous shape. Filamentous shape means what? They are like a dot. That is, we call it as filamentous shape. So they have two types. Filamentous shape. Other one is thallus. Thallus means what? Like a rod. So they have a rod like a shape. So one type of algae that you cannot see through your naked eyes. Remember, most of the filamentous shape algae only you cannot see through your naked eyes. So one you call it as chlamydomonas. So chlamydomonas is one type of algae that you cannot see through your naked eye. So thallus, most of the thallus can be seen. Like one is Spirogyra, you have Spirogyra, diatoms, and all of them. So these people have these shapes. So what are the two shapes that you can find in algae? Filamentous shape, and other one is thallus shape. And remember, there is a microscopic algae that is always floats on the water surface. That you call it as phytoplanktons. Phyto, phytoplanktons. So phytoplanktons is one of the type of algae you cannot see through your naked eyes, but they always float on the water surface. Clear? Understood? And also there is another type of algae, variety of algae that you can see through your naked eyes. You can see through. That is ulva. So ulva is the one most of the time we see in closer to the wet surface. The greenish one, we see the ulva. Clear? Understood? Got the idea? So that is about algae. Understood? Yes. Yes, you can write the phytoplanktons as an example. Yeah. Yeah, for the algae you can write, not an issue. Right. Now let's go to the virus. If you all have done writing, let's go to the virus. Yeah, you can write it down. Can you write it down? Some people are asking me to write. So yeah, you can write it down. Okay, right. Now let's talk about virus in detail. Now we are going to study about virus. Now listen, when you talk about virus, we got to know that virus is 10 times smaller. Now already bacteria is a unicellular. Now think, bacteria is unicellular. Now if the bacteria is made up of one cell means if it is smaller than the cell. Now think, if the virus is smaller than the cell means, can you say the virus is made up of cell? Is it made up of cell? If it is smaller than the cell, is it made up of cell? Is the virus is made up of cell? If you think like that, no, right? So that means we can say no cellular organization. So that's the reason we say no cellular organization means what? We cannot tell whether they are unicellular or multicellular because virus is not made up of cell. They are very smaller than the cell. They are very smaller than the cell. Clear? And also we observe through the electron microscope. Then I told you virus. Now this is the shape of the virus. Now this is the shape of the virus. When the virus is out of the body, now say this is me. I am the person who is going to get affected by the virus. That is, we call it as hot. So the virus before entering into my body, it will be non-living. It will be non-living. After the virus has entered inside my body, it will become living. So that's the reason I told you the scientists could not come to a conclusion whether virus is a living or a non-living because before it enters to my body, it is non-living. After it enters to my body, it becomes living. The reason, they will use the energy inside our body. They will use our energy inside our body and they will start to reproduce and grow faster. So that's the reason I say virus can spread very quickly. Why? Once they get into our body, they will start to get multiply the cells inside our body. And they do not show the living characteristics. They do not show their growth. They do not show the respiration. So therefore, we don't know whether they are living or not living. But still, they get spreaded. We don't know how it is. Clear with that? Understood that? So what are the examples for virus? Coronavirus, HIV virus, dengue virus, Ebola virus. Got it? Understood? Yeah. Can you write it down? So did you understand the diagram in detail? And did you study the diagram in this way, in detail, or did you read in the school? Or did you copy the table in your writing book? What did you do? You can talk to me. I'm like your friend. Yeah? Yeah, you all were reading and you all copied. So that's what. So most of them have done that like that. If you have studied, that's nice to hear about it. Right. Clear with that? Got the idea? Right. Now we are done with what are the virus. We studied about virus, we studied about protozoa, algae, we studied about bacteria. So we studied everything in detail and we understood why, what is this word. And even I explained you this word, no? Why did they say the word no cellular organization? And what is the reason? I told you each and everything without even missing even one point. So everything has been explained you. Now I think you don't want to by heart the table. If you understand in a way that I told you, definitely you can score well. Clear with that? Understood? Right. Now we are going to move to the advantages and disadvantages of microorganism. Now, you need to understand something about microorganism. Microorganism can live in hostile environment. You may heard about this word in grade 8, but even now you can hear this word again. That hostile environment only they turned into extreme environment. So you need to understand hostile and extreme both are same. So hostile or extreme means what? Harsh environment, like what? So microorganisms can live in what? Hot water, spring, salt, petrol, diesel, like lava, like what do you say, like the polar regions. So most of the places these microorganisms can live. So I saw in 2021 something paper in grade 9, it's a provincial paper. They asked a question in grade 9 paper, third term I could remember. So in that they asked mention to hostile environment. Now most of our students are used with the word extreme, but they don't know what is hostile. So today I'm explaining you that hostile means extreme. Extreme and hostile environment like what? They live in lava, spring, hot water. So you can write even in the paint bucket. Inside that they live in like salt marshes, petrol, diesel. So you can write this environment. Clear? Understood? Right. Now, first, we will be talking about the advantages of microorganism in agriculture. So, what do we need to understand is now, if you see, if I say there is 50 good things, if I say if there is 50 good things means in the world, there will be 50 bad things in the world. There will be 50 bad things also. The reason because we see good and the bad are equal. That is equilibrium on the earth, right? If I say 50 bad people on the earth, there will be 50 good people on the earth. So that's how it is. So if I say 50 things about the microorganism advantages, there will be disadvantages also equally. Clear? So now we are going to study that what are the beneficial effects of microorganisms in agriculture. So these words only very hard for some students, as I know, in agriculture. Number one, we call it as gene technology. So under gene technology only, we are going to study what are the advantages. Now listen to me the word gene technology. Now whenever we talk about gene, remember gene means we say genetic. So gene means what? Genetic. By using the genetics of microorganisms, say I took 2 3 microorganisms, using the color of microorganism, using some part of the body of microorganism, I am producing a chemical. So this chemical I am using for the harvest in the agriculture. I am using for the harvest. When I now what is my now imagine gene technology means a technology that is using the genetics of microorganism in order to produce drought resistant and pest resistant crop. Now what do you mean by resistant? Resistant means what? Now say you are hitting me for a long period of time. If I can bear the pain for a long period of time means the bearing we call it as resistant. So now usually the crops are there. No, say one snail came. If one snail came, this snail will reproduce and produce lots of snails to go on with this harvest, and this harvest will be fully spoiled. No, so, by using the gene technology, I'm producing something that can resist the drought. Even though there is no water, this crop can grow. Even though the pest has come to the crop, they can grow. So that means not only with that, with high nutrition, with the taste, in everything wise, I am producing. Like what you say, I'm giving a duster. This duster I can hit someone, I can erase the board, I can use for something else. That means from all in one effect only. That is gene technology. So by using the gene technology, I am producing what am I producing? I am producing, what do you say, I am producing a crop that can resist drought. Without water they can grow, that can resist pest, also with the taste, also with the nutrition. See, all in one. So if I am producing such crop, that I can produce crop that with using gene technology. Now, did you understand what is gene technology? Did you understand what is gene technology? Yes or no? Did you understand what is gene technology? Anyone who didn't understand? Okay, Taiba didn't. Okay, right. Okay, listen to me very carefully again. Now, there is a technology. Okay, so there is a technology called gene technology. By using the genetics of microorganism, what I'm doing is, now say I'm taking the parts of microorganism, I'm preparing a chemical. Now this chemical I'm going to apply to the crops that I'm growing in my farm or paddy field. Okay, now what is happening is, these crops what I am growing is with 100% taste, 100% nutrition. Not only that, even though drought comes, you know what is drought, I guess. Even though drought comes, this crop will not die. That much strong. So that means I am producing a stronger crop using this technology. That even though pest come, like beetle comes, if even the any insect comes, this crop will never die. But if I don't use this technology and if I start growing the crops, what happens? If drought comes, all the crops dead. If the pest comes, all the crops are diseased. Will there any taste? Will there be any nutrition? No. So that is the advantage of that microorganism. By using the microorganism, they are producing drought resistant crop, pest resistant crop. Not only that, taste wise, nutrition wise, also they are clear. Understood? Got the idea? So you can ask me, who is that microorganism? That microorganism called Erwinia uredovora. What is the name? Erwinia uredovora. So Erwinia uredovora is the microorganism who is helping to do such crops. Clear? So this Erwinia uredovora is the bacteria that is enriched with vitamin A. Now I told you taste and nutrition wise now. So the main nutrition that is present in this crop is vitamin A. Clear with that? Clear with that? So now this, what are these crops? These crops are producing golden rice. Remember, not a normal rice. These crops are producing what kind of rice? Golden rice, not normal rice. It's a gold color, yellowish color. It's a golden rice is produced by this kind of vitamin A enriched crops. Clear with that? Understood that? And also, there is another bacteria. There is another bacteria who is helping to produce toxins. Toxins means medicines for the pest. Now, say if snail and everything comes to kill the snail, avoid the snail to come to the crops. I am producing a what do you say? A new kind of a substance that is by Bacillus thuringiensis. So Bacillus thuringiensis is a type of a bacteria that is mixed with the Z maize. So you know what is maize. Maize means a kind of a kurakan or something like that. I don't know the Sinhala word or anything, but I know it as a maize. So there is a maize mixing with the Bacillus thuringiensis is mixed with the Z maize in order to produce toxins for the pest. Clear? Let's come back to the gene technology. What is gene technology? Gene technology is a technology. We use genetics of microorganisms in order to produce crops. What kind of crop? Drought resistant, pest resistant crops with high nutrition and taste. So what kind of a taste you are getting? Vitamin A nutrition. And what is that bacteria? Erwinia uredovora. What kind of crop are you harvesting? Golden rice. Not only that, there is another bacteria who is producing toxins for the crops. What is that? Bacillus thuringiensis in Z maize. It is mixed with the Z maize. Clear? Understood? Got the idea? Understood what did I say right now? Anyone here who didn't understand? Anyone here who didn't understand? Got the idea? Yes? I'll erase it. Is it okay? I didn't understand the toxins. Toxins means we are creating some medicines to kill the pest. So by using the microorganism only, I am making a medicine. So that medicine can kill all the pests. So that bacteria name called Bacillus thuringiensis. So Bacillus thuringiensis is a kind of a bacteria. By using that bacteria, mixing with the Z maize. Z maize is a crop. It's also a crop. Mixing with the Z maize, if I put it, all the pests who is about to come and eat these crops will not come. Clear with that? Clear with that? Toxins, no? Again, you're asking about. Okay, others got it. Toxins are, some toxins are harmful for us, some are not. Now see, we may have heard about artificial fertilizers. No, artificial fertilizers are bad for us. That can cause kidney failure also. So these bacteria things are there, no, that will not cause us. That is okay. That is a biological medicine. No, it won't cause. These things are good, safe for us. But there are which is not safe. But these things are safe. That's what we are learning them under the advantage. Clear. If it is causing us disease means will we study under the advantage? No, right? We will not study under advantage. Since it is safe for us only, we are studying this under advantage. If it is not, we will not study under advantage. Clear, no? Okay. Next one is nitrogen fixation. We need to study about nitrogen fixation. Now, listen. Nitrogen fixation means, now imagine, I'll tell you one story. Now, plant is there. Now, what is the gas that is absorbed by the plant? What is the gas that is absorbed by the plant? Carbon dioxide, no. Only carbon dioxide can be absorbed by the plant. But remember, if the plant has to grow height, if the plant has to increase the height, and if it needs to get a sufficient nutrition means, mainly the plant need nitrogen. Without the nitrogen gas, the plant cannot grow height, as well as it will not be healthy. But the problem is, remember, plant cannot absorb nitrogen. See, plant need nitrogen to grow, but the plant has no ability to absorb the nitrogen. So now what is to happen is, in the earth, I mean, like when you talk about the atmosphere, there are 78% of atmosphere. There are 78% of nitrogen in the atmosphere and 21% of oxygen in the atmosphere. Okay. Now what you need to understand over here is, oxygen is reacting. Oxygen will react with anyone. But nitrogen is there. No. It is an inert gas. Inert gas means what? It will not easily react with anyone. That's the reason it is in high number. Oxygen is in less number because it will react with anyone. It can react. Now what do you need to understand? Nitrogen is absorbed by the plants. How is it getting absorbed? Because plant has no power to absorb the nitrogen directly. There should be someone to break the nitrogen and take, because nitrogen has 3 bonds. Now think, you will study this in grade 10. Nitrogen has 3 bonds. That's the reason nitrogen is not broken easily. Now think, oxygen has 2 bonds between 2 molecules. Now imagine nitrogen N2, no, how many atoms will be there? 2 atoms. Oxygen here, 2 atoms. O2, N2, 2, 2, 2 will be there. But between these two, how many bonds are here? 2. 3 bonds are here. Now say, if I give 2 equal sticks and 3 equal stick, which equal stick you can break easily? 2 equal stick can be easily broken, or 3 equal stick can be broken easily. Which one you can break it easily? 2 or 3? Very good. 2. Why? It is a less number. You can break it. But this one, can you break it? No. Nitrogen cannot be broken easily. So that's the reason plant cannot absorb it quickly. Got the idea? Now listen. Now 78% of nitrogen is present in the atmosphere. Now this plant root is there. This plant root. In the plant root, they have some nodules, root nodules. We call it as root nodules. Inside the root nodules, you have a bacteria called rhizobium. You will study this person again in grade 11 and grade 10. There is a person called rhizobium. This rhizobium bacteria is capable of breaking down the nitrogen and helping the plant to absorbed it. So that's what we call it as nitrogen fixation. Clear with that? So nitrogen fixation means what? What do you mean by nitrogen fixation? 78% of nitrogen that is present in atmosphere naturally, where the bacteria is able to absorb the nitrogen directly in order to help the plant to absorb that. You call it as nitrogen fixation. Did you understand what is nitrogen fixation? In short, we can say ability to absorb atmospheric nitrogen directly by the help of bacteria, that you call it as what? Nitrogen fixation. So rhizobium is a bacteria that is present in root nodules. It's present in only very few plants like beans, peas, like legumes. Other than the now you may think only in long beans, only in peas rhizobium is there. So other plants, who is helping? There is another person called azotobacter. Azotobacter is the plant itself. Azotobacter is a bacteria that's a free living bacteria who is helping other plants to absorb nitrogen. Clear? Understood that? Got the idea? These people, azotobacter, we call them as biofertilizer. We call them as fertilizer. You know what is fertilizer, no? Pohora? So biofertilizer means what? The substance that makes the soil rich in vitamins to grow. So microorganisms are in need. We need microorganisms in the soil. Those people only provide nutrition to the soil to grow. So what will happen? The soil will be moisturized with more and more nutrition. The plants will be growing with the help of microorganisms. So that's what you need to understand under nitrogen fixation. So nitrogen fixation means what? Plant cannot absorb nitrogen directly, but there is a bacteria called rhizobium in all the leguminous plant. Legumes plant means the plant that is like kadala, cowpea and all the stuff. So legumes plant will be helping the rhizobium will be helping the legumes plant to absorb nitrogen directly. Other than the rhizobium, who is the free-living bacteria, azotobacter. So azotobacter is the one who is present in other plants to help to absorb nitrogen directly from the atmosphere. Clear? So what is another name that we call for the azotobacter? Biofertilizer. So biofertilizers means what? The substance that makes the soil rich in vitamins in order to grow. Clear with that? Understood that? Got the idea? Right. Okay, so let's revise the lesson what we learned right today. So we will be revising and we will be getting into the questions. Questions in the sense we will have the quiz right now. So since it's raining, I'm not having the proper coverage and all the stuff. So from next class, we will be having the continuous class until 8:30, right? Right. So what did we learn today? We studied what is microorganism. So what do you mean by microorganism? Microorganisms are organisms which are unicellular or multicellular, which cannot be observed through our naked eye but can be observed through the microscope. So that's the definition. So what are the 5 types of microorganism did we study? Number 1, bacteria. Number 2, fungi. Number 3, protozoa. Number 4, algae. Number 5, virus. And virus can be observed through the electron microscope. Rest of them can be observed through the compound or simple microscope. Right. And then we studied about bacteria in detail. So bacteria is found in all the environment. They have different shapes. What are those shapes? Coccus, bacillus, pyralium, vibrio. Then they are unicellular and microscopic because you can't see the bacteria through your naked eyes, right? And what are the examples we need to remember? There are 2 advantages and 2 disadvantages. One advantage to produce milk-based products. So who is helping? Lactobacillus bulgaricus. Another person is vinegar, Acetobacter aceti. And then anthrax disease by Bacillus anthracis, cholera disease by the Vibrio cholera. So that's about bacteria. Then fungi. Fungi can be unicellular, multicellular. That means you can see through your naked eyes. Some cannot be seen through your naked eyes. So what part of the fungi can be seen through the naked eyes? That is mushroom. Another one is mucor, that is present on the bread. Mushroom, mucor is going to be the multicellular. Yeast is going to be the unicellular, and also most of the time fungi will be forming under the moist surface. Then the third one, protozoa. What are the protozoa? We got to know. And can you see through your naked eyes? No, they are unicellular: amoeba, paramecium, euglena, and plasmodium. So, amoeba using what structure to move? They are using pseudopodia. Paramecium, cilia. Then, what is the next one? Euglena using flagella. Plasmodium mostly present inside our blood. That means, in case if you go to the unknown water and if you got drowned, this protozoa can enter inside your body. That protozoa we call it as plasmodium. That can infect our red blood cells, right? And then we'll go to the algae. Algae is green color that can do photosynthesis. There are two shapes of algae. What are they? Filamentous, thallus shape. And then what else we can talk about algae? They are phytoplanktons is a floating algae. And one algae you can see through your naked eyes that we call it as ulva. And what are the other examples? Chlamydomonas, diatoms, and spirogyra. Virus, let's go to the virus. Virus cannot be observed through our naked eyes. That means, do they even made up of cell? No, they do not have a cellular organization. And they cannot be considered as a living or non-living because they do not show any characteristics like respiration and growth. And also, what are the virus? Ebola virus, coronavirus, dengue virus, and all of them. And these are the things that we learned today. And then we studied about gene technology. So gene technology is what? Where we produce crops that is using the genetics of microorganism. What kind of crops are we producing? With high nutrition and taste, drought resistant and pest resistant. Who is that microorganism? Erwinia uridivora, which is rich in vitamin A, and it is also producing golden rice. And there is another microorganism that is helping in the gene technology, Bacillus thuringiensis with the Z maize, that is produced as the toxins for the pest. That means to kill pests, we are producing these substances. Then nitrogen fixation. So what is nitrogen fixation? Nitrogen cannot be absorbed by the plants directly. Therefore, the plants like legumes plants will contain a bacteria called rhizobium. This rhizobium is directly absorbing the nitrogen for the plant to survive. And other than that, there is free living bacteria that is helping to do the nitrogen fixation, that is Acidobacter. So Acidobacter also considered as what? Biofertilizer. So biofertilizer means what? That helps the soil to become rich in nutrition. Therefore, the plant will be able to grow for a long period of time. Clear with that what you learned today right now? Will you forget this what you learned? Will you forget this? Yes or no? I hope you will never forget. Will you continue the classes? So I told you until you come to grade 10, I will be helping you throughout. So we will be having the free classes every day at this time. So I hope you will never miss this class. And if you wanted to, like we will be having, don't leave the session. I will send you the link for the today's quiz and all, so you all can finish it off. And then just let me know how was the class today and everything through this number. So just send me a message to this number 0753243. Okay, right. For this number, if you feel the class was useful and if you really loved it, yes. And share the details with your friends. Say this is going to be free classes until our grade 10. So I'll be giving you constant practice for your term papers and all of them. I'll be helping you to do the unit test and all of them, right? So then, yes, have a good day, guys, and stay in the class itself. I'll be sending you the link right now, and just be tuned. Okay? So I'll switch off the video, and then you will be continued, right? And there will be time seconds moving on. So you'll have to enter your name, full name, and you'll have to click out. Okay? And the winners will be announced in the group itself, right? Stay in the meeting.
Y'all can see the winner through the screen. So I'll be selecting three winners to give the revision bundle tudes. Yeah. So take it serious and keep working. For those who doesn't know, just let me know if you don't know how to do it. Please make sure to put your full name, because there can be same Zainab, there will be so many Fatimas and all. So make sure to put your full name and just enter. Okay. So exactly by 8-7, by 8-7 we'll be starting the session and we'll be ending out, right? Okay. Yeah, we can start right now. Okay, congratulations to the winners. So please text me to this number, the winners. Please text me to this number so I can send you all the details regarding that to obtain. Okay. And others, thanks a lot for joining. I hope you may enjoy it and there were questions that is not related. But anyways, just a sample. This is our first class, right? So next class we can have a better session more than this. And have a good day. Take care and good night, guys. See y'all. Just let me know how was the class today.